Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jake. I go by Astral Irma because usually I'm reporting stuff that I see in the astral and I'm in Irma. So today I want to talk about Atlantis and some history before the flood, maybe a little bit of history after the flood. Let's get right into it. Before Earth was known as a battleground, before Atlantis or even Lemuria rose from the oceans, there was Lyra, a peaceful star system home to thousands of human like races who lived in harmony for hundreds of thousands of years. But peace can make civilizations vulnerable. And then came the invasion. Over a million Earth years ago, an invading reptilian force, cold, calculated, and highly advanced, descended on Vega region, specifically targeting the planets Alvalon and Lyra. The human like Lyrians were unprepared. They had lived too long without war. Facing extinction, they fled, and what came to be known as the Great Expansion. Lyrian refugees scattered to every corner of the galaxy, seeding new worlds including Taigeta, Earth, and many others. But the reptilians pursued them, hunting them to near extinction. It was from this survivalist chaos that the Galactic Federation was born, a union of humanoid races determined to resist extermination. Earth was not uninhabited. Ancient hominid species like the Neanderthals walked the land, but then the Lyrians arrived about 40,000, 50,000 years ago, bringing with them a high frequency holographic society. One of their allied colonies, the Taigetan Pleiadians, established a peaceful base on a vast, now sunken continent known as Oceania. This became Lemuria, a cosmopolitan colony much like ancient New York, a melting pot of Lyrian offshoots, Taigetan cultures, and many others. Lemuria coexisted with the Lyrians on Earth, living in harmony, but that peace would not last. The reptilians returned, this time to Earth, but they built a new civilization on a vast continent that is now beneath the North Atlantic Ocean, a land known as Atlantis. But forget the romanticized myths. Atlantis was not a beacon of light, it was a reptilian fortress. The Adamic race, descendants of captured Lyrians, were enslaved. Children were separated from their parents. Sound familiar? Newborns were taken from mothers and raised in indoctrination camps. The goal was to break the soul, erase the memory, rewrite the origin. They attempted genetic modifications trying to dampen the Lyrians' powerful connection to Source, but it failed. As Atlantis enslaved, Lemuria resisted. The Lemurians became the last free society on Earth, fighting back against an overwhelming force. A war erupted, one of the ancients called the First Ancient War. Nuclear grade weapons were used. Traces still linger today in places like Pakistan. The reptilians began calling the surviving Lyrians the Atoms, or the Adamites, and their females the Avis. Adams and Eve, that's where it came from. Not as names, but as categories of property. Yet among the enslaved, the Taigetan women, who could blend in due to shared Lyrian genetics, began a silent revolt. Disguised among the captives, the Taigetan women passed truth and spiritual knowledge to the Evas. These weren't just teachings, they were frequency codes, memory triggers, activations, and seeds of awakening. There was knowledge and wisdom that the Evas passed. That the Taigetans passed to the Evas, and then the Evas passed them to the Adams. The Evists shared this forbidden knowledge with the atoms. The Bible remembers this moment but distorts it. In Genesis, the serpent tempts Eve with the forbidden fruit. But the serpent wasn't evil, it was Tigetin. That's what the serpent represents, is Tigetin. And the serpent represents women. Specifically in this, the Tigetin women. The forbidden fruit was awareness, sovereignty, memory, because the reptilians had they had rewritten the Lyrian consciousness, basically, through mind control and manipulation, and they, by separating the children from their parents, and they basically erased and rewrote, the consciousness of the human Lyrians at this point. But the Tigetans were bringing it back, and so began the awakening. The slaves realized they were naked, not in body, but in truth. They had been stripped of identity, spirit, and soul connection, but now they remembered. The reptiles reacted with fury. A second war of planetary scale erupted, culminating in the destruction of Tiamat, a massive water planet near Earth. Reptilians had set up decoy bases on Tiamat, drawing the Federation fleet into the ambush. The ensuing battle, fought with zero-point and nuclear weapons, shattered the planet. Earth was showered with Tiamat's oceans, creating the global flood remembered as Noah's deluge. It wiped out both Lemuria and Atlantis, reshaping Earth's continents and triggering a pole shift. It also damaged Mars and the moon. Survivors were scattered. Lemurians fled to South America, Japan, and the Pacific coast. Reptilians and their hybrid slaves fled to Scottish Highlands, Ireland, and underground bases. In the aftermath, the Federation weakened and, facing chaos, erected a containment grid. A 3D frequency matrix was projected from a damaged Andromedan biosphere ship, which aka the moon, to trap the remaining reptilians. But this also trapped humanity. The matrix interfered with consciousness, it dulled spiritual sight. Earth became a quarantine realm and a simulation of limitation. And so began the modern human era, where myth replaced memory and truth was buried beneath religion, science, and fear. The war continues. The Lyrian spirit cannot be suppressed forever. DNA is not altered in test tubes, but by belief and frequency. The so-called junk DNA is not junk at all. It is deactivated Lyrian potential, waiting for reactivation through consciousness. And that's what this spiritual awakening is all about. The spiritual awakening now sweeping Earth, it's not random. It's a return of memory, the echo of Lemuria, the end of the Adamic enslavement, and the rise of genetic human once again, of the galactic human. You are not a slave. You were never created to serve. You are a Lyrian, starborn sovereign. The war isn't over, but the truth is returning. And this is just the beginning. So please subscribe, share, and remember.